Let's dig into the economics. The goal here is to give you a feel for the financial opportunity in front of you. Whenever I go through economic models, I always like to outline a framework for the approach here. The framework I'm using is called OMAR. It's something I picked up in grad school, and it's an acronym to help make economic discussions easy to follow and digestible. The O stands for objective. My objective here is to show you potential projected revenue and projected profits at various capacity utilizations. The M is for method, and the method I've used is building an economic model in Excel, and the key differentiating factor of variable is capacity utilization ranging from 25% to 100%. And A is for assumptions. The following assumptions were discovered by analyzing our P&L at NeuFit, and these are assumptions for the sake of the model, but they are derived from empirical evidence, and I'll go over all the assumptions for the model in just a moment. And R stands for results. Let's take a look at them now. These are the assumptions, and basically the backbone of the model I created. Our weekday hours are from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. Our weekend hours are from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. We're open a total of 13 hours each day during the week, 6 hours for each day of the weekend. So when we look at the entire week, we have about 100% capacity per week per Neubie at 77 hours. Average revenue per hour is 100 an hour. We do have models that get us up to 300 an hour, but for the sake of simplicity and sanity, we're going to use 100 per hour as a baseline. Employee cost per hour is 30. The payment for the Neubie is usually around $750 a month. The suggested per Neubie square footage allotment is 150 square feet. I'll show you what it looks like to use 150 square feet with the Neubie in a super efficient way. For the waiting room and reception, about 500 feet. And the price per square foot per month for rent in this model is $3. So for about 1,500 square feet, it's around $4,500 per month in rent. Let's do a quick walkthrough of our former facility so you can get a visual for how this plays out with a smaller footprint of around 1,500 square feet. So here's our former reception area with comfortable seating for folks and a desk for the front desk person. We had a private rehab room for one-on-one work, and of course, Steve the skeleton, which went with us to our new facility. And this is the piece de resistance. This is where we had about 8 Neubies in here at any given time, and this was one of the rare instances where the facility was completely empty. We had 6 stations in the facility, all nicely organized just as you see here, and they were each set up like this. They had a rogue rack that folded into the wall, bench, bars, weight tree, and of course a Neubie on a nice portable cart. And usually we have a battery that hangs out right here, and these last for the entire day. And the Neubie can either be plugged into an outlet or become super portable with an external battery. Happy to get you squared away with one when you get your own Neubie. And remember, each of these fully equipped stations only requires about 150 square feet. Hard to believe, but this is the evidence right in front of you. We moved out of the facility I just showed you in June of this last year, and our new facility is about 4,000 square feet instead of 1,500. We have a beautiful waiting area, which you see here, 2 private therapy rooms, infrared sauna, yoga space that we also use for bar classes with the Neubie, offices, and a big bullpen style area for our Neubies and equipment. As we go upstairs, we have an office, bathroom, and then this is the room where we do yoga and bar with the Neubie. Downstairs, we have a few therapy rooms, just like this one that I'm showing you now. We also have an infrared sauna, which I mentioned a little bit earlier, and we also have an InBody. Lastly, here is our bullpen where we do work with both our rehab and fitness customers. If you're interested in learning more about how we set up our facility, equipment, etc., I'm happy to discuss in detail with you. Now that we've developed a nice set of assumptions and visualizations for how the business can look, we can start scrutinizing over the nuts and bolts of the growth model. I'm going to show you the building blocks of the growth model I've developed, and this is the numerical manifestation of the assumptions and visuals I just walked you through. The entire model hinges on 2 things specifically: capacity utilization and the number of Neubies. Here you can see capacity across the top and sessions broken down by month, week, day, and by employee. I want to make sure that these projections are sane, so I go down to the smallest unit in order to understand the unit economics. In this case, it is the number of sessions per employee and the number of Neubies. Adding more machines means business is good. So we also increase the amount of sessions serviced based on the amount of machines that we are dealing with. So as we change the amount of devices, sessions per month will rise respectively. Pretty clever, right? My Excel jockeying days do come in handy from time to time. So as we add devices, sessions will rise, but we can see that sessions per day per employee remains consistent. I like to check this because it shows that as we project forward, we aren't getting too far ahead of our skis. In other words, it makes sense with how we've seen our own business operate. The rest of the growth model deals with the number of employees, which rises with the amount of newbies. Makes sense, right? It'd be silly to have 10 of these things with just one person to operate them. Next, we have a few items you'll recognize from our assumptions overview, like revenue per hour, employee cost per hour, and square footage needs. Key thing to remember about square footage needs. We have discovered a fantastic way to utilize 150 feet with fully equipped station to work with clients. If the amount of newbies increases, we also increase the amount of stations. This way, we do a good job of narrowing the region of darkness around capacity utilization with respect to the amount of space needed to get things done properly. Now that we've gone through the whole growth model, here it is. If you want to dig into this further with me, I'm happy to adjust my economic model with you to reflect your details. Now I'll show you some projected earnings. These will be annualized for the sake of simplicity. The expense model included the following items: rent, SaaS, this means software as a service. These are various subscriptions like MindBody, Vigaro, and soon our own NeuFit operating system. Insurance, this is an expense, and we scale this as we add newbies so we model things accurately. Employee costs, which we discussed at 30 per hour, and of course your structured payment to NeuFit. Here's what earnings looks like at different capacity levels with 1 newbie, earnings with 3 newbies, and earnings with 5 newbies. You can see annualized revenue, expenses, and earnings from 100% capacity down to 25%. And just for fun, here's what EBITDA looks like at 10 and 20 newbies. For any of you wondering what the heck EBITDA is, it's a financial acronym that stands for earnings before interest, tax, depreciation, and amortization. The simpler version is revenue less expenses equals EBITDA. Now I've shown you each model individually for a business that is anywhere from 1 to 20 newbies. For the sake of simplicity, this table shows you 1 to 20 newbies at 75% capacity utilization. Maybe a bit conservative, but it ain't bad to be a little prudent when dealing with financials. If you have questions percolating, I'd be happy to get with you offline and get into the weeds on some of this stuff. I have a lot of detail I can share with you, and we can even create a model that is specific to your business. We've gone through the growth model and having one or many machines with employees, etc. Let's talk a little bit about our experience building a thriving business around the newbie and the crazy growth we've experienced. Average year-over-year growth for us has been about 70% since 2009. Started at 0 and we just crested 7 figures in annual revenue this past year. We've gone from 200 square feet to 1,500 square feet and now just about 4,000 square feet. From 2009 to 2014, Garrett was basically in the lab, and he started in a small glorified closet that was about 200 square feet. After 5 years of being in the trenches and inventing, he has taken on number 2 in around 2014, and the rest is history. So this is no joke. When I reference hockey stick trajectory, I mean it.